everyone. So welcome to our Chapter 1 presentation. Our topic is early intervention, family-centeredness, and occupational therapy. So in this presentation, we're just going to be introducing to you what early intervention is, sort of what an IFSP is, what the PSP model is, and then just discussing the relationship between them. So what is early intervention? As most of you know, early intervention is mandated under Part C of the IDEA, and it provides transdisciplinary services to families of children ages birth to 3 who have developmental delays or other health conditions that could lead to developmental delays. And some of the needs that might be addressed by an early interventionist, you'll just see listed there. I don't need to read through all of them. But one main thing to point out is just the term transdisciplinary. And this is the team that determines the type of services that are necessary during the development of the IFSP. And we're using the term transdisciplinary instead of multidisciplinary. And transdisciplinary means it's just members are jointly assessing a child and form a coordinated intervention plan with the family members, which is then implemented by one team member, and that's the PSP, which we will discuss next. So as we just mentioned, the transdisciplinary team works to develop an IFSP for a child, and this is the written plan for providing early intervention services. And this document will contain information related to the types of services that are going to be provided, as well as information about the child and information about the family, including things like the family's resources, priorities, and concerns. And this will also include the plan for service delivery. And for this project, for our thesis, we're going to be discussing the PSP model.
So as Allie mentioned, the plan for service delivery is a PSP model, or a primary service provider model, and this is when one member of the transdisciplinary team serves as the primary contact person. So each member of the team works collaboratively and consults and coaches each other, and then this PSP goes into the home and provides the direct intervention with the family. So the benefit of this is that the child and the family receive this transdisciplinary comprehensive care, but they're only dealing with one main contact person, and this reduces the need for scheduling and maintaining professional relationships with each one. So a PSP can be any member of the early intervention team. However, it's typically the member who best fits the needs and priorities of the child, the family, and the environment. So this will differ depending on the IFSP and the child's needs. In a 2014 position statement, the American Occupational Therapy Association made a statement that occupational therapists are uniquely suited to function as the PSP due to unique experience in the functional areas of play, sleep, ADL, social participation, and education. So to give a little more background, there's currently limited research to support that the needs being addressed by the PSP during routine home visits are the same needs that the PSP is being coached to provide. So we discussed that the transdisciplinary team is providing coaching to the PSP, but if they are providing coaching techniques on interventions that aren't actually being addressed, then this is causing a disconnect. One study by Ridgely and Hallam in 2006 studied the IFSPs of low-income families, and what they found is that many concerns that were expressed by the family were not actually addressed on the family's IFSP. And on the other side of that, the IFSP documents also contained a lot of content that was related to areas that the parents never identified as concerns. So there's definitely a disconnect between what the family is identifying as immediate concerns and what outcomes are being documented on the IFSP. And one reason that this is significant is because it may lead to the PSP being unprepared when they are in the home visits for situations that arise. There's also an absence of family-centered practice in the making of IFSPs that could be a reason that's causing this. So now we're going to talk about our problem statement. We decided for our problem statement that limited research exists within early intervention literature about the relationship between IFSP outcomes and OT intervention during routine home visits. So in addition, it's unclear whether the role of early interventionists is broader than the scope of OT, thus bringing into question whether occupational therapists in a PSP role is the most effective approach to service delivery.
The purpose of this study is to investigate the role of occupational therapists in relation to early intervention services. We're going to use a mixed method study to utilize and to examine the IFSP and service notes in order to determine common occupations and family-stated concerns addressed during routine home visits that are not formally included in the IFSPs. Our qualitative approach will be a phenomenological design, and it will be looking for the emergent themes within the two documents that we are looking at. In this phenomenological design, we are hoping to seek to understand a better kind of lived experience according to studies that we have researched so far. A retrospective review of the IFSPs and service notes for children received home-based EI services in Ionia County will be investigated. The reason for using a mixed method design is to explore the common themes and prevalence of occupations, while also making comparisons between IFSPs and service notes through the use of descriptive statistics. Next, we'll talk about significance of the problem. Under EI services, the IFSP serves as a contract of service provision between the parent and the IFSP team that ensures government-mandated services are being provided. Despite the fact that EI services are mandated to be family-centered, research suggests that IFSP outcomes continue to be directed towards the child, leaving many family concerns not formally addressed in the IFSP. This shows a disconnect between the written documents of the IFSP and the family-centered theoretical framework that guides OT services throughout in a home setting. This information could have a direct impact on future practices in early intervention services, such as the formation of new policies or procedures for written relevant IFSP outcomes, or a call for increased education for OT students in areas of need of frequently arise during home therapy sessions. Our research questions are, the first one is, what occupations and family-stated concerns do early intervention occupational therapists address during routine home visits that are not formally included in the child's IFSP? The second question is, during routine home visits, are occupational therapists addressing needs within OT's scope of practice, or are occupational therapists overstepping their boundaries in the PSP model? Question number 3 is, do children and family demographics impact occupations and interventions addressed in the IFSP and in routine home visits? This is the list of our key concepts that we have discussed throughout this presentation.